Hello, how you doing today? My name's Mark Olson, and I'm starting a new business. It's called, well, not starting. I'm a founding member of a business that's going to blow up the world. That business is on passive, but I'm not here right now to talk about that. That's on passive is going to be life from this point on. We all hit a journey point. Our journey, we come to a like crossroads, and we got to pick: are we going to go left or are we going to go right? I chose to go right, and it was like the road to happy destiny. Um, yeah, because it's not a destination. You got to enjoy the journey. But some of us, like me, when I was young, uh, went through a lot of uh, abuse. And that part of that abuse was verbal abuse, and I was convinced that I wouldn't do anything in the world. I wouldn't be anything in the world. Um, and then my eighth grade year, because yeah, that whole time up to the my eighth grade year, when my mom was alive, uh, sh- we used to get beat on a daily basis. A lot of verbal abuse by my dad. Um, yeah, got lined up against walls and had the had the chore list out, going through it. If you didn't have it done to his specifications, you got your head knocked against the wall. Or if it was two of you, you had to come over and he'd knock our heads together and say, start thinking, so I learned at a really early age that I needed to run and hide, you know. Um, I couldn't tell anybody what was going on in the house because it would just be a bigger beating. So we went through uh, our whole childhood, in fear. But when he was gone, man, my mom used to do everything. Used to do everything. But I say my eighth grade year, on New Year's Day of 1975 at 11 o'clock in the morning, she had a massive heart attack, and she died instantly in our arms in our living room. Well, that by that time, my oldest sister, my oldest brother had already. My oldest sister went out on her own. It was the you know it was the 70s, early 70s, middle 70s. She was living on her own. My brother, oldest brother, went into the Air Force right out of high school, um, and never looked back. Never looked back. After mom died, he moved over to Ohio after he got out of the Air Force, and that's where he settled down and had his kids over in Ohio. Um, then my brother Dave, which was 4 years older, well, my sister Barb, yes, she just passed away um, about a year ago. No, about 3 years ago. So that's part of my journey. That's my journey up until I go into high school. Well, when I went into high school, I had a lot of anger build up inside. I needed to find out a different way of escaping, and that's when I found drugs. I got into drugs really heavy, alcohol really heavy. I always said I wouldn't be like my dad, and I turned out just like him. You know, except for I don't beat people. I don't, like my wife and my kids. We have uh, or had a good way of discipline. It was more verbal, and they had to go do a math thing or something. I mean, it was it was always something that would bring them forward. But they were young, they were young. Anyway, yeah, I did a lot of drugs and drinking all the way through high school, and it was it. I was the one that was supplying stuff for parties and everything else. We had a lot of good times. Don't let me tell you we didn't. I mean, it like I say, it was the late 70s, and that's just the way it was back then. That's just the way it was back then. 60s was love and peace, and you get into the 70s, and that flowed into the 70s. You know how it is. You know how it is. I know you do. But my whole life, I, it was instilled in me that I was a piece of poo poo. In other words, and every day that was thrown at me. You'll never amount to nothing. I mean, I was the one that was skipping school, and I was one that was into drugs, and I was the one that was. I mean, I got caught with a lot of alcohol, and some drugs when I was 16. And back then it was a slap on the hand. Um, but shortly after that, it wasn't going to be a slap on the hand. But you know, I was like, okay, got away with that one. You know, because my sister worked at the Law and Justice Center, so she was talking with all the judges and lawyers and all of them. She's the one that pretty much got me out of jail. And after that, went home, and my dad beat me so bad that my whole face was black and blue and puffed out. And uh, he sent me to school and made me tell them that uh, some kids from normal community, which was our rival, uh, jumped me and did this to me. And that, yeah, that did they didn't believe that too much. So they ended up calling my sister and set it up to where I got taken away from my dad and put with my sister. The journey in life, will take you to many different places. For me, at the beginning, it was just escape, just escape. There was no journey. There was no road of happiness. There was none of that. And no any other way. I just was going listening to this committee that was up there. And, I mean, I ran away from God because I blamed him for, taking my mom and at and leaving me with this abusive alcoholic. You know, um, Shortly after that, I think a year after that, my brother graduated from high school, and when he graduated from high school, my dad said, "Okay, time for you to get out," and he kicked him out, and that left me with him. I mean, there was by then, I mean, I was a full blown alcoholic and drug addict, and I went over by the pool. Some guy introduced me to Angel Dust, and I liked it because it just took me to another place. And so that's the kind of journey I had um, during high school. And then I got out of high school and I went straight into the army. But before I could go straight into the army, I had to do uh, two go back for a fifth year. Well, a semester of a fifth year uh, to make up. Uh, two PE classes. So I'd go to school, make up two PE classes, go out to and then that's when lunch hours were getting ready to start, and that's when my uh, hospitality jumped in, and I was a big drug dealer. So yeah, I mean, I just lunch times, I sold a lot of different kinds of drugs most people probably never heard of. I'm not saying that to be cocky or saying that that's just what my life was like back then. That's just what my life was like. I had to survive. I had to survive. I didn't think that I had anyone on my side anymore. So, but my fifth year, I was selling drugs, and I got caught with some amphetamines and a wad of money, and so they kicked me out of school. And then we had to go through. There was a problem we had to go through because I was supposed to go into the army, um, and that's when I ran. Anyway, they let me go on that. Found out that it wasn't amphetamines; it was caffeine, and they couldn't arrest me for caffeine, which was a good thing. So they let me out, and I was able to go right into the military in July of 1981. I went into the military, and I figured they would straighten me out. That's why I went in. You know, um, I went through basic training. I went through AIT, and they that did change me, but it didn't change what was up here. That's always our problem. Everything comes from our brain. I call it my itty bitty shitty committee. Anyway, so I went through basic and AIT, and I got I stayed an extra uh, session uh, because they let me be the drill corporal. So I was I was a drill corporal of the next basic training unit came through. After that, I went into the Army Reserves here in town. We were 388th Chemical Company. We blew smoke, like to smoke out valleys and sides of mountains wherever the troops were going through. We would give them cover, but we could also add different chemicals into it. Um, that yeah, I mean, I did. I don't even know all the different chemicals. I went in as a food service specialist. That's what I did my whole life. I've been in restaurants ever since I was 13 years old. I started in the first restaurant. Um, yeah, so it's it's been okay. Let's get through this. Let's get through this. Let's get through this. But I was still drinking when I came back for the reserves. I ran back into the old crowd, and I started drinking and drugging just like I did before I went in. That's what happens when you're an alcoholic and drug addict. Unless you got something sufficient to to hold on to, and that would be a power greater than yourself. But I had resentments against God, and I never heard of a power greater than yourself. So I went on doing what I was doing. A lot of alcohol, a lot of drugs, a lot of lying, cheating, stealing, all that stuff. I didn't have uh, any family per se, except for my sister. My sister Kathy's always been with me. Now I'm taking care of her. What comes around goes around. But yeah. Then I came back from the military, and I was in the reserves for the next 10 years. Um, about the eighth year, um, we were at a summer camp, and it was all free beer, and Yeah, so I drank as much as I could, but then I fell down a flight of stairs, and because I was so drunk, they gave me the choice to either get out with an honorable discharge or we'll put you out with a dishonorable discharge. Well, I, I mean, my brain was still working pretty good enough to know which one to go, So I went into a control group for a couple of years, and till my term was up. But I still did, 10 years of active duty, and but I came out when that somewhere in there, like about 19. Oh, I want to say I was working at Perkins. I was like uh, 19 years old, 20 years old. I think I was 20 years old, and um, started dating this girl, and of course she got pregnant real quick, and uh, she was only 17. No, just getting ready to turn 18, and her mom was like, "Nope, she's too young to have a baby," and take care of one, and she knew what kind of drug addict I was, and she's like, "You ain't gonna be no help," So they came into where I was working at Perkins, and they told me they were going to Texas. There's a place down there that takes pregnant girls and until you know help them through their pregnancy, and then they have an adoption agency right from that place, which was good, but I didn't care at the time. I just didn't care. I did, you know, I mean, I was so out in la la land my whole life, but on January 8th of 1990, no, yeah, January 8th of 1993, um, I was going through some stuff to get more visitation with my kids, and I had a 1 hour visit down at DCFS, and you know, uh, she just there was a lot of times she just didn't show. Well, on January 8th, I that was my uh, eighth week of her not showing up, and uh, I went. I don't know. I went crazy. I mean, that's all I can say. I stopped at every bar from where I was at to the other side of town where the bar that I normally drink at, and across the street where I lived. And I drank a Long Island iced tea at every one of them. I picked some drugs up along the way. So yeah, I was snorting, I was eating, I was smoking, all kinds of drugs, and it all got washed down with Calvert's Extra. Yep, and that. So when I got out to the bar out by my house, I was in a blackout, and I walked in. This is what I was told. I walked in. I started some shit with a couple different guys, and an old friend of mine was in there from high school, and we got to talking. And his brother just committed suicide, like 3 days before, and he was sitting there drowning his thoughts, and we got to talking, and I had experience. I had a lot of experiences with different stuff like that throughout my life, and that's what we were talking about. You can relate to anyone in the world if you have at least one thing in common. You know, but we left there and we went to his house, and I had asked him to take me home, and we got to his house, and of course we started drinking at his house. Went back into a blackout and found his gun. And he said that he had the dogs out looking for me for about 20 minutes, and they found me crouched down in his basement with the gun in my mouth. And I was just done. I was just done. I was only 30 years old, and I didn't, you know, I always said that I wouldn't live past 30, and it's funny how uh, at 30 the went in my mouth. Not thinking about any of that anyway, but so I stuck this gun in my mouth and I started pulling the trigger, and Jack was sitting there trying to talk it out of me, and his eyes got really big, and he just kind of went faint, and and he said there was like a light that just shined around my whole head, my whole body. Said it was a bright light, and he's like, and I looked at you, and started talking, and that I could see that trigger was going back, and that light came on, and your arm went from your mouth over to the side right as the gun went off, shot a hole in his wall. They called the suicide hotline, and I guess I was talking to them for about an hour and agreed to meet them at the hospital. Because say I was told all this. Well, I got down to the hospital and I was about 2 blocks from there, and you know they were down at the end waiting for me, and I came out of this blackout. I'm like, where are we going? I thought you were taking me home. No. And that's when he told me what all I did. He's like, and you agreed to come over here and talk to them and maybe get some help. And I said, nope, nope, nope. And I opened up the door and I jumped out. Well, the police and everyone come shooting up, and they ended up catching me, and they put me in psychiatric intensive care. I was there for 3 days, and the doctor said, I believe that you're an alcoholic, and you need some kind of treatment. So I agreed, and I went to Parkside Recovery Center for 30 days, and I got out and I started going to AA meetings, started going to some NA meetings. But the same time I got out, my ex-wife, that we both, yeah, we had hits on each other. That's how much we hated each other, and there she was sitting in the meeting. She's like, "You can't be here. I have an order of protection against you." Well, no one can be kicked out of Alcoholics Anonymous. Unless you're unruly, you can be kicked out of meetings, but you can't be kicked out of Alcoholics Anonymous. You know, and that's where I say we have uh, different things in our life where we start a new journey. We start it's something is put in our life that changes the direction that we go. I was a very rageful person back then. You know, my nickname was Psycho, if that tells you anything. And then, what happened? I just lost my train of thought. Anyway, I lost my train of thought. Doesn't that ever happen to you? Happens to me every now and then. You know, where was I? Uh, Anyway, yeah. So Cedar Lakes. So one of the old timers got up and said, "Nope, he can sit over there. You sit over there. Stay apart from each other." And I'm like, about halfway through the meeting, I was like, it was too much for me to be there. My kids were running around, and I couldn't even have them come over and give me a hug. Or God, that was a hard time in my life. I had two girls that, beautiful little girls, and I couldn't see them. I couldn't see them. So I found another AA place, and I started reading the book. I started practicing uh, the principles that are in the book. And by going through the steps, I cleared away the wreckage, all that stuff that I held, inside that fueled my rage. I, I used to say that I was a rageaholic. I was like Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde. Nobody knew uh, what I was going to be like. Except there was a few people that know when my skin gets tight, when I'm that rageful, my skin gets tight. I have little pebbles in my head from when I was a 3-year old and I fell off the slide out the park head first into the rocks, and they couldn't get all the small rocks and pebbles out, so they said, "Owen, be careful throughout life." I mean, but that was a big joke that Mark has rocks in his head. I used to say, "At least I got rocks." Oh, so I found St. Matt's, and yeah, that was another turning point. That was another turning point. By that time, I had about 30 days clean and sober, and that amazed me. You know, and it was all just doing it one day at a time. You know, and and practicing honesty and integrity and showing up, suiting up and showing up, doing things that I didn't want to do, even though, yeah, doing things I didn't want to do, you know, but I did them. And after I did them, you know, I mean, this book was written back in 1935 by 90 alcoholics, first 90 recovering alcoholics. And the book was written. And now millions of people in almost every country is Alcoholics Anonymous is there. And it sprung out like wildfire. You know, I mean, it really it just went a boom. You know, so I'm glad that it went boom because I probably would be dead right now if it didn't. Because there wouldn't have been no place for me to go. You know, but I've been sober now for 30 years. You know, I'm not saying that to impress anyone, but it impresses me. Knowing the way I drank, the way I drugged, and then as simple as don't take the first one. Don't take the first one. Keep your eyes on your surroundings. You know, I have choices today that I can make, but I moved to Chicago after my 2-year anniversary, and then I met a girl up there, and we got married, and we were we were the ones that were putting on all the parties, and you know, because my philosophy is I have to show the newcomer that you can have fun in sobriety without drinking, without drugging. You can have fun, you know. And I didn't know that before. I thought everyone drank, and if they didn't drink, there was something wrong with them. That was my thinking, you know. But because I've worked through the steps of Alcoholics Anonymous many times now, because you know, I mean, you take on sponsees, so you got to go back to the book. You know, I mean, that's just the way it is. But um, I was married for 5 years, and I ended up, let's see, about a year into the marriage, I got a job at putting locomotives together for General Motors. You know, so I I did that, and then in 2005 they sold sold it out to three investment companies, I think it was, and those investment companies gave us a choice to drop down to $15 an hour, or you know, take a $50,000 buyout. So of course I took the buyout, went out, paid off all my bills, and went to truck driving school and became a truck driver. About a year into truck driving, I'm headed back home to Chicago to my wife, my kid, my step kid, and she called me and she's like, "Take your time coming home." I'm like, "Why?" You know, like because when you get home, I want a divorce. uh, yeah, I went off the deep end, you know, but because of Alcoholics Anonymous, I didn't drive off the edge of the mountain that I was going down. Um, because my sponsor called me and said, I just had a feeling something was going on. So we talked and talked and talked, you know, and then by then I was just, you know, following the road. And I was almost down, and he hung up, and then one of my sponsees called and told me that, you know, his diabetes, they were going to cut his foot off. And we got to talking about how he can handle that without drinking and drugging. And by the time we were done talking that, we were down to the bottom of the hill. I went back to Chicago. I packed up all my stuff, and I moved over with my sister and my aunt. And about a year later, I moved back here to Bloomington because I this is Bloomington has the best AA anywhere. I've been to a lot of different places, being a truck driver, pull in and drop my trailer and drive the truck to wherever the meetings are. Meetings are easy to find nowadays with Google, you know. But pretty soon, pretty soon, we're going to have a better product out in the world. And yeah, you're going to be a part of it. May not think you are, but you're going to be a part of it. It's going to be that big. But anyway, I won't get into that right now. So I truck drive for when you know for I was truck driving from 2005, and then in 2013 I came down with leukemia, so I had to quit truck driving, and because I had to go through chemo, I had to go through all that stuff, and yeah, they told me that you know it was a process. It was a process to get me back up, but they got me back up, and I got a job with another trucking company, and then a year later after that, I had some pains in my legs, and I went to the doctor, and they said that the veins behind my knees, in my ankles, and in my groin were clogged 100%. And they needed to do emergency surgery because, you know, I was close to dying. I didn't know that, but that's what they say. And so he took me in and had surgery. And, you know, during that time is uh, when Kevin came to me. I mean, me and Kevin's known each other a long time. He's like, this is the time you need to get in. You know, it's starting to grow. It's about ready to explode. There was about 1,000 people, I think. You know, and that was in 2020. You know, so I got in. You know, I mean, first it was first it was about making money. You know, I mean that's what it's all about. That's what life's all about, making money. You know, but what he was introducing me to was another fork in the road. Do I go left or do I go right? Well, right, right was a good choice. Right was a good choice. It sent me down this road. I was I was now disabled because of the well, I was when I talked to him, I was still driving a truck, and that's what my goal was to start spreading the word to truck drivers, you know, uh, which once we do launch, I'm going to do that. There's over 5 million truck drivers in the United States alone. You know, so that's an industry that I'm going to try to tap into. You know, what am I going to try to tap into? Well, we're going to get into the the shopping mall of the digital world. You walk in the front door, you sign your name, you put in your PIN, whatever it's going to be, and you go into your own ecosystem. Your own ecosystem. You know, most companies, digital companies, you know, they're putting out one product, you know, and now with AI, you know, they're all scrambling, trying to figure out how to incorporate it and everything else. Well, I tell you, I was introduced to this business. Like I say, it was 2012. I was driving trucks, so I kept in touch with Kevin, see how it was going, and it was building behind the scenes. It was building. There were things being brought out that here's what's going to happen down the road, you know, and the CEO and mastermind of this whole thing is Ash Mafara, and you know he's not like any other CEO. Um, he doesn't even like to be called the CEO. Um, Whenever he comes out and does a webinar, he starts with my name is Ash Mafara, and I'm your friend. You know, and that's what I say. I'm Mark Olson, and I'm your friend, and I want to help you into a better life. I want to help you into a better life. You know, this you can join on passive when we launch. Right now, you can't join because they're upgrading. They're updating things to on passive 2.0. At least that's what I call it. It's the next phase. It's the better phase. We went through. We we were part of the beta testing for what is about ready to take over the internet. Just about ready to take over the internet. Why, you ask? Because we have a better product than what's out there. We started out with AI and IT. You know, um, they partnered with, you know, all different uh, kinds of things, like the the you know, my mind's gone. Anyway, they also bought the top floor of the Burj Khalifa. And if you don't know what the Burj Khalifa is, it's the world's tallest building. It's over in Dubai. They bought they bought the whole floor, the whole top floor, because no one can get higher than what Passive does. We are at the top, you know. And then we have another floor for, business stuff. Top floor is going to be majestic for uh, all the kings and princes and queens, all of those really big people that are already part of Passive. They're already a part of them. There is 1,400,000 uh, businesses out there, and we're called affiliates. And most people hear that word affiliate. I do. They hear that word affiliate. It's like, um, well, there goes that. I don't know why I'm that way, but we started out as being founders. Then we're really not founders, because the only thing we're doing, which is a very important thing, sharing our experience, strength, and hope. And we're a AA, or not AA. We're AI with heart. AI with heart. But that's kind of what my life's been in a short version. We're at 42 minutes, you know. But I want to tell you a little bit about Unpassive. Unpassive is a shopping mall of the digital world. You know, all you have to do, like I said before, is sign up, which is just a couple little things, and you get registered, and you create your own O-mail, and that O-mail address, whatever you make up, whatever at O-mail, dot AI, and you get in early, because what you want may be gone, but maybe not. I mean, I don't know. We've already got the 1,400,000. They all have O-mails already, and the other million that signed up when we were during our beta testing uh, little era, really. Um, then then things happened. Something happened. Uh, Something happened, and Ash had to take control of the business again. Not just use different people, like he's in charge of that area, and he's in charge of that area, and he's in charge. And something happened, and then Ash said, "I'm taking it back, because he's this is his baby, and he ain't gonna let it go out there. This is going to change everyone's life. Going to change everyone's life from here to kingdom come." But right now we have free products. When you sign up, they pay you to sign up with 10 O coins, which will go into your wallet, that you can use on purchasing any of the products, or anything that goes on sale through the marketplace. you know, but they give you those 10 coins, and they also give you a free oatmeal with unlimited data. And there is so much stuff within oatmeal. You can do blogs, you can do, oh, yeah. It, it's so great just to scroll through and see what all is there. And then, so you got a new oatmeal, you know, and you got ONet. What's ONet? That's our social media. And yeah, you'll have a lot of fun with that. I mean, that's all I can say right now. We're waiting for them to come back out. They could they could make a post an hour from now, or they could make a post 5 days from now. But it's any time now. I mean, any time now they're going to launch to the world. They're not just going to open up to the world. They're going to launch it, and it's going to go up and blow up like a firework, and all of those little fireballs. Yep, those are going to be the different uh, products you can use. So now you got an oatmeal, you've got your social media. What's next? Well, Zoom started out and got really busy during COVID. Well, now COVID's over, you know. So people are getting back out, not using Zoom as much, but there's a lot like people using that kind of product. So what did we do? We came out with O Connect, and that's what we were beta testing for about a year. And I tell you what, that is the most funnest thing you can have. You know, you buy the product. At least that's the way I own that product now. I pay. Right now it's all shut down, so we're not paying nothing. But we buy the products. He supplies the products, and everyone makes money. Everyone. You know, the company takes 50%. For to run the company. Ash takes 25%, I believe, and then 25% goes out to whoever made the sale. Now I own it. I own O Connect, right? And uh, right now, like I said, it's not running, but I own it. So when it comes out, all these people that uh, were waiting for it are going to flood in here, and on passive is going to divvy up all of the all of the people that joined that weren't founders. Why are they doing that? And what do I mean by divvy up? You know, everyone that comes in has to come through a founder. They have to. That's the only way they can get in. You know, uh, through a founder. So yeah, he's going to divvy up all the ones that have already registered. Like I say, there are about 1 million that's already registered. And then people can start coming in through. You'll start seeing advertisements. You'll start seeing. I mean, right now you could go to onpassive.com and check it out, or you can go onto YouTube. Go to OnPassive. You can go on YouTube and man, you put in OnPassive, and then a bunch of names will pop up because that's all the founders that do stuff like this. This is my first time. People have told me that I talk too much, but you know what? I believe that we're here to uh, talk and teach and learn, and we can do it all in one place now or very soon. We can do everything that we do on the internet without remembering 10,000 passwords and usernames. All you got to do is remember your email and your password, and you get in. And when you go in, you'll have your whole ecosystem. You know? And every time a new product comes out, it'll come up into your ecosystem and ask you if you want to, you know, uh, take a free trial of the next product. Every product will have a free trial, so that you can see if you really want it. But I tell you, our products are superior to anything that's out there. Anything when it comes to data. We already have data centers in multiple locations around the world. We have offices in Orlando, Florida, Dubai, uh, uh, Egypt, Singapore. Oh, there's one more. Egypt, Singapore, Dubai, United States. There's one more. I can't think of it right now. So we're not just another run of the mill company. People try saying we're an MLM. You know, now this you may not see it right now, and you may not see it within the next month. You know, but pretty soon you're going to see it. You can already go to. I mean, Dubai. We have. I mean, we've got our own train station in Dubai, a train stop called On Passive Street. you know, I mean, we 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 do uh, like digital things going up the whole Burj Khalifa. We have advertisement, digital Ferris wheel in the world, which is in Dubai. You know, we partnered with the police of Dubai. We yeah, it's huge. It's huge. I can't say no more. I mean, he, he's mentioned a lot of different products over the last 4 years that I've been into it. You know, but time will tell. Nothing's nothing that is great is easy. And he's had some bumps in the road, and I pray for him and his family and our whole team. We've got teams in all of those countries, in Orlando and Dubai and Egypt. And when you look out the windows of Egypt, you're looking at the pyramids. I want to go check that out one day. And one day, you know, I won't have to worry about money ever again. I truly believe that, because we're going to be bigger than Amazon. We're going to be bigger than Google. We're going to be way bigger than Zoom, because people are going to love our products, because they're not only the best products out on the market, they're the cheapest. You know, the price value is lower and the product is better. How can you not want to get into something like this? After you get into your ecosystem and you start looking around and you start checking things out in your new O-mail and in your new O-net, and then you're gonna be like, wow, I need to get some friends. Well, how do you get friends? You send your link to all your friends on Facebook or whatever. But you go before you do that, you go to the top of the page and you click the button, I want to be an affiliate. And you fill out a short form and you become an affiliate. And once you become an affiliate, every product you buy is now going into your own personal digital superstores. You hear that? Every product you purchase goes into your digital superstore. So everyone that you get in, you share this stuff because the more you share, somebody comes to you and says, "How do I get that?" You send them, since you're an affiliate, you send them your affiliate link. They press on the affiliate link and they come and they have to register just like you did. Create an email, create a password, and they get sent into their very own ecosystem. And they'll have one just like you, but it's going to be theirs. And you're going to have one just like mine, except for it, I've been in a lot longer. I'm a founder. You're going. I'm a founding affiliate, and you're an affiliate. You would be on if you signed up through my link, you would be on my team. You know, and then you would get people in, and you'd get them on your team. And get them to become an affiliate and make a little bit of money off of every sale they make. And it's, man, I just can't talk about it anymore. I just can't talk about it anymore. I've learned so much because there's a lot of smart people. Once you get in here, I've got just in my on passive family, I've got 350 friends all over the world that are all, you know, we get together at night and play trivia. We get together. I mean, and that's what we can do here. It's not just, you know, a business forum. Then you can have a family reunion around the world right there on O Connect. There's a lot of things that can be done and will be done. But I just, like I said, I just started this. This is my test, trying to figure this all out. And, you know, I, I don't have nobody watching me, because I couldn't figure out how to, send a link over to the groups that I was in, on passive, because I know my family would have been here. But I'll send them the link after this is recorded, I hope. And yeah, and then we'll start the process. This is like chipping away at the ice. You'll see me again. I just don't know when. So stay, keep your eyes open. Listen to me all the way through. I've got, uh, we've been here 1 hour, and we're at 59.44 minutes. So I tell you, I love y'all, like it or not, whether you know me or not. Uh, the world it's changing around us for, I don't know if it's for the better or for the worse. I try to not focus on that because this is going to, on passive, is going to get me through all of that, any of that, any of that. And it's going to free up my time. And when I die, it'll be willed to my kids. And when something happens to, them, it can be willed to their kids, and so on and so on. You know. Well, you all have a very great night, and or morning or day or whatever it is. I don't know. I've been up all night. Uh, Unpass has got me going, and some other things that I take care of has got me going. It's 5:21, so I'll say goodbye to you all. Auf Wiedersehen, and I love you. Love you all, like it or not.